Okay. First of all, remember, this is a review. On the first one, on these assignments, we're reviewing the readiness standards, the readiness. Okay, on the first one, first of all, you need to read everything. You need to read everything carefully. Because we're recording this video, I'm just going to go over each of the questions, and then I'm going to let you work on them, okay? On the first one, what I expect to see is that you convert every rational number into a decimal. Like the first one, Katie, it's already as a decimal. But the second one, D'Angelo, it's a fraction. So you need to convert this into a decimal by dividing, top in, bottom out. So you will do for the second one, 45 divided by 40. And then 100%. How do we convert a percent into a decimal? Brenna, do you remember? Move the decimal 2 places to the front, okay, to the left. But if you don't have any decimal, how do you know where to put the decimal, Emily? You move it 2 places to the left. So you assume the decimal is at the end, right? At the end. So 1, 2, over there. And then for Jonah, again, we need to do the division. 2 divided by 3. Okay, so let's start with the divisions. Okay, on this one, after you're done with the divisions, I expect you to organize the numbers over here. So let's divide. How many groups of 40 can you do out of 45? Now, for those who are still struggling with division, I expect to see a T-chart. 40 times 1, 40 times 2 is 80. Times 3 is 120. Okay, so here it's only 1. 40, then you subtract 5. Add a decimal, add a 0, bring down the 0. And it's again 1. Then it's 40, subtract 10. Add a 0, bring down the 0. Now it's 2. 2. Okay, I'm going to stop here because if you notice, we only have 2 decimals here, and here we only have 1. So with 2 decimals, it's enough. Next one, I'm going to write it over here. So Katie, 0.4. And then D'Angelo is 1 and 1200ths. And then Grace, it's 1, 0, 0. And now let's divide to find Jonah. And remember, you cannot guess on these questions. You cannot be guessing or you're going to get it wrong. 0, as soon as you know that you need to add a 0, put the decimal or else you're going to forget. 20. So 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract, be careful when you subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2 and 0. 0, bring down the 0. You notice it's going to be repeating decimal because again it's going to be 18 and then you're going to subtract, it's going to be 2 again. It's repeating decimal 6. So 0, 6, 6 with the bar notation. Now here on Katie, we're going to add another 0 so you can compare the same amount of digits. Now we're done with this one, but first, read it again. Sometimes you are thinking that it's going to be least to greatest, and then it's greatest to least. Look over here, it says greatest to least. So which one is the greatest number? We have a 1 over here, and we have a 1 over here. Or think about money, Jose. Okay, you can think about money. What is better? Having 66 cents or having $1 or $1.12? $1.12. So D'Angelo of 45 over 40 is the biggest number. So the greatest is this one, number 1. Now you can get rid of everything else. See? Can you do that again, Jose, if you get on the test a problem like this? Yes? Just turn everything into decimal. It's the best way to do it. Don't try to guess, because fractions are confusing. See? You see different kind of numbers, it's confusing. First, put everything into the same kind of number, which is decimal. And organize your numbers like this, okay? Organize your numbers like this. And fill out the empty spaces with zeros so you can compare the same amount of digits. Okay. Number 2, you need to find the keyword. I told you, you need to read everything carefully, but because we're recording the video, I'm just going to help you with the problem. Here it says her score was the sum. So that is the keyword. We're adding what? We're adding integers because you have positive and negative numbers. What I recommend you to do when you need to add like this, several numbers or more than 2 numbers, add first all the negatives. It's like the money you owe and the money that you have. So let's add all the negatives. Let's add -4 and 10. When you add same sign, you just add and keep the sign. So this is -14. And then on the other side, we have the 7, the 0, 7, 0, and 2. When you add same sign, just add and keep the sign. What is it? 9. Okay? Now, you have the last addition, but you're adding different sign. When you add different sign, the 14 is negative, the 9 is positive, you subtract. What is 14 minus 9? 5. And keep the sign from the biggest number or the biggest absolute value. Negative because the 14 is bigger than the 9. So -5. You have your answer over there. Questions? But integers, you need, in every step of the, when you're working with integers, on every step you need to be thinking about the rules. If you're adding, different sign, subtract. Same sign, add and keep the sign. When you subtract, you need to change it into an addition problem, see? And then when you multiply or divide, same sign, your answer is positive. Different sign, your answer is negative. But right now, it was only addition. Number 3, we have one person's speech 6 minutes long, and the other person was 3/4 of. What does of means? What operation? Multiply, multiplication. So we have a simple multiplication, 6 and 3/4. Which statement concerning Andy's speech is true? Andy's speech was 3-4 minutes long, and Andy's speech was 3.4, Andy's speech was 4.5, or Andy's speech was 3. Let's go ahead and do the multiplication. We have 2 choices. One, using fractions. If you use fractions, you just multiply, and you need to put a 1 under. 6 times 3 is what? 4 times 1? Okay, and then let's divide this one or simplify. If you divide using, to convert it into a mixed number, it's just 1 step division. Divide by 4 is what? It's 4. Subtract. So you write it using fractions. 4 and 2, 4, which is 4 and 1/2. Okay? Now, if you want to multiply using decimals, you convert the 3/4 into decimal. What is 3/4 into a decimal? 0.75. So you put 75, put the number with more digits on top, times 6, all the way to the right. 6 times 5 is 30. What is 7 times 6? 42 plus 3? 45. And then count the decimal places you have. 1, 2, 1, 2. You see your answer now? But everything started on the keyword. on the keyword, okay? Because some of the students are trying to divide or doing the keep, change, flip, doing something else. Of means times. And when you multiply fractions, you multiply with the 1 on the front. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Okay, number 4, again, as soon as you see rate, I want you to do the proportion, the setup for the proportion. A window washer cleaned 38 windows in 2 hours. What are we talking about? Windows and what else? Windows and hours. So we have 38 windows, 2 hours. At this rate, how many? Here is the prediction that you need to make. At this rate, how many windows did he clean in 7 hours? The question is in windows in 7 hours. Okay. So you can go ahead, cross multiply and divide, or find the relationship between these two. Okay. If you prefer to do cross multiply and divide, we're going to be doing 38 times 7. What is 7 times 8? What is 7 times 3? 21 plus 5? 26. We don't have any decimal, but now we need to divide by 2. 266 divided by 2 is 1. Subtract, bring down the next one. Subtract, bring down the next one. And we're done, okay? And look at your gradable. Be careful with the gradable. It's a whole number. You don't have any decimals. So you're going to write it over here on the thousands, tens, and ones. And it's a positive number. Some students, they're always asking me, do we need to put the positive? You don't need to put it, but I want you to put it because that way you don't forget the negative when it's negative, see? So make it an habit so you can see it that is negative or positive, because you tend to forget the negative, not the positive, okay? Okay, number 5. On number 5, remember, you're always going to get 1 or 2 questions like this. To convert fractions to decimals and percent, or percent into decimals or percent into fractions, okay? So you need to identify what type of question it is. So you, on your mind, I want you to be thinking, okay, this is about fraction, decimal, percent. This is about rate or ratios. This is about turning every number into a decimal so we can put them in order. I need you to be thinking about that. So this problem is about, you have an information that you need to write as a fraction, and then they're asking you what decimal is equivalent to that fraction. So first you need to write this as a fraction, and then you turn it into a decimal. See? Every time you write a fraction, other than ratio, because ratio is according to what you read is how you write it. But fraction, you need to write part out of the total. Part out of the total, or the whole number, okay? So it's 24 out of 30. 24 days of November, 30 days in November. Now that you have the fraction, you can turn it into a decimal, okay? You can just divide as it is, or you can simplify first and then divide, okay? I'm going to divide as it is. 24. Remember, always top in, bottom out, divided by 30, okay? Again, if you are still struggling with division, you do your T-chart, top and bottom. Times 1 is 30, times 2 is 60, times 3 is 90, times 4, 120, times 5. If you notice, as the times table for number 3, you're just adding a 0. Times 6, Okay, I'm going to stop there. That is what we're looking for, see? So it's 0 at a decimal. It's really important that you remember the decimal. If you don't put the decimal, it's a whole different number and you're going to get your answer wrong. So it's times 8, subtract, okay? And then again, be careful how you write it on the gradable. It's positive, and it's 0, and then the decimal is already there, and then the 8 after the 0. Then number 6, Lacey has placed an equal amount of mass on each side of a balance. 5 kilograms on the left side, so let's imagine the balance. 5 kilograms on the left side and X milligrams on the right side. What is the volume of X in milligrams? So this is a conversion problem, okay? This is a conversion problem. You have the original amount, you have it on kilograms, and you need to turn it into milligrams. So everybody get your reference chart. On your reference chart, find kilogram. Did you find it? On the metric, on mass, on the metric side, metric system, you have kilograms to grams, and then grams to milligrams, okay? So you need to do 2 conversions. First to grams, and then to milligrams. So you need to multiply times 1,000, and then times 1,000 again. You have kilograms times 1,000, and then times 1,000 again. And then what you get? Times 1,000 again. Grams. Okay? Now, when you multiply times 1,000, you can add the 3 zeros at the end. I'm going to do the long version so you can see it. Put the number with more digits on top. 5 times 0, 0, 5 times 0, 0, 5 times 0, 0, 5 times 1 is 5. You notice? And then do the same thing again. I'm just going to write it over here. It's 5,000, and then I'm going to add 3 zeros more. Do you see your answer now? Now, yesterday we had a similar problem, and a lot of students were skipping from the original amount to the second amount. You cannot skip like from here to here. You need to convert to this one first, and then what you get times the other number. I believe yesterday was gallons to pints, era aquí. So a lot of students were multiplying the gallons times 2, thinking that they are already pints. No, you need to go gallons to quarts, and then quarts to pints, see? Or you can multiply 4 times 2 is 8, and then multiply by the gallons, okay? Okay. Number 7. Number 7, I already told you. As soon as you notice that they're asking you for a percent, you have a percent. You have a percent. You have a starting amount. You can either have a part or the total. Just do the setup. Obviously, this is not going to come on the STAAR test. So you need to remember the setup. You need to remember the setup. There were approximately 8,950 public libraries in the United States. A survey found that 76. It's easy to understand. Yes, they're giving you a percent that goes on top of the 100. But to understand if they have given you the part or the total, that is another story. You need to read it carefully. Is the total? Because it's the total amount of public libraries, okay? So now you need to find this percent. Okay, again, cross multiply and divide. Cross multiply and divide. So 8,950 times 76, bless you, divided by 100. 6 times 0, 0. 6 times 5 is 30. 54, 57. 6 times 8 is 48. 48 and 3 is 53. And 5. 48 plus 5 is 53. Now this is really important. Some students are still struggling with this part. When you continue with the next place value, you're done with the 6, you are going to start to multiply by 7. You need to leave an empty space over here, an empty space on imaginary 0. Cross out the one that you were carrying out. If not, or else you're going to get confused. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 5 is 35. 9 times 7 is 63. And 3 is 66. 7 times 8 is 56. And 6 is 62. Then you add. You were adding 0, 12, 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 6. And then don't forget to divide by 100. Divide by 100 is like you're moving the decimal 2 places to the left. Do you see your answer now? But the most important part is the setup. Once you do the setup, there's no way you're going to get it wrong, okay? You know how to multiply, you know how to divide, you know the shortcuts. There's no reason for you to be getting these questions wrong. Number 8, prime factorization. You've been doing prime factorization since last year, okay? First of all, do the prime factorization 3, and then write your prime numbers as exponent form, on exponent form. Again, remember what I told you. To find the first 2 factors, if the number is even, one of the factors can easily be 2, okay? But if the number ends on 0, one of the factors can be 10. See? And then, if you cover the 0, you know the other number is this number is going to be the other factor. So 11 times 10, it's the first 2 factors. 11, you need to remember the prime numbers, at least the first 10 prime numbers. So 11 is a prime number. Now give me 2 factors of 10. 5 and? 5 and what? And 2. Remember, we're multiplying. So 5 times 2 is 10. Okay? So 5 is prime number already, and 2 is prime number. So we're done. Now, as soon as I notice that 11 was here, you know this is not going to be your answer. 22 is not even a prime number. See? 22 is not even a prime number. Now, you just need to write it as a multiplication. Normally, they put the smallest one first. 2 times 5 times 11. Aquí está. Now remember, for this one, please study the prime factorization, okay? Study the prime numbers. Some of you already have a chant from 5th grade. You remember that you used to sing the prime numbers, see? Con Miss Bennett, con Miss Glenn, see? Study, see? I'm going to do one. I'm going to upload it too. Okay, number 9, it's about properties of operation. Who remembers what property is this one when you see a number outside of the parentheses? You multiply, but what is the name of the property? You need to use PEMDAS, yes, but there's another number for this one. Like when Christmas that your grandma distribute the gift to everybody. See, it's the distributive property. So this is 3 times x, and then plus 3 times 6. This sign is not going to change unless the number is negative outside. So then it's going to change when you multiply. So look at your answer choices. This has an extra addition here, so this is not your answer. This one, they didn't multiply the 3 times 6. They just multiplied the 3x. So this is 3x, 3 times x, 3x, plus 3 times 6 is 18. On this one, they are adding here instead of multiplying. And on this one, this is your correct answer. Now I'm telling you, and I repeat this every day, if you don't remember the properties, if you don't understand the properties, you need to plug in a value different, an easy number and different than what you have, and then solve it using PEMDAS. If I decide that my x is going to be 4, I'm going to substitute the value here or in every question, in every answer choice, and use PEMDAS. Multiplication, division is left to right, addition and subtraction, whichever comes first from left to right. So if division comes first, it's division first. If subtraction comes first, subtraction first. So I'm going to do this one so you can see that it's the same value. If I decide x, it's equal to 4, you will add first because it's parentheses, will be 10 times 3, it's equals to 30. So on my original one, I got 30. And then I'm going to find here which one is going to give me 30 using 4 instead of x. So here will be 3 times 4 will be 12. And then 12 plus 18, it's 8 and 2 is 10. Carry 1, 1, 2, 3. You see, we get the same answer. But you need to be careful because it's PEMDAS. You need to follow strictly PEMDAS. If you follow something else, if you follow everything left to right, you're going to get confused and you're not going to get this right. These problems are really easy, but you need to be trying. You need to be doing it by substituting the value. Next one. The cost of downloading one song from a website is 99 cents. Which equation can be used to find T, the cost in dollars of downloading N songs? So we need to find the cost, and N, the T is the total amount. So T is the money, and the cost in dollars of downloading N songs. N is the number of songs. 99 cents per song, okay? What do you think is going to be? When you order a pizza, if you know that the pizza costs $5, what do you do? If you want 2 pizzas, what do you do? What operation do you do to find the amount of money that you need? Do you add the 5 pizzas time? If you need 2 pizzas, if you add the 2 pizzas plus the $5, you multiply. See? Thank you, Martin. You multiply. So the value, it's multiplying because it's per each song. See? Per each song. So you need to multiply. So the total is going to be equivalent. Normally we put that number. Remember, the coefficient, you write it first, and then the songs. And so you're multiplying because it's 99 each song. Because it's 99 per song. Okay? So you don't add the amount of songs that you're going to download plus the amount of money. See, you're not adding, you're multiplying per each. You see your answer? Okay. 11. It's a triangle. Use the ruler provided. Some students are still like, they don't understand. What ruler? What are they talking about? To measure the dimensions of the tile to the nearest centimeter. So we need to measure this to the centimeter, and then we're going to find closest to the area. Closest to the area. Okay. We need 2 things that are a reference chart. 1, to write the formula. What do we need first so we can measure that? Some students yesterday, they were measuring everything around. I believe yesterday it was a parallelogram. They were measuring everything. Why would you measure everything? You just need few things. For the triangle, you need to find 1/2 of the base times height. So let's measure the base, let's measure the height. The base is 5 centimeters because you need to round it to the nearest centimeter. So it's 5, the base. This is the base. And this, the straight one, is the height, the one that is forming a 90-degree angle with the base to the highest peak of the triangle. So times 3, because it's to the nearest centimeter. Times 3. Hopefully you can see it. So 5 times 3 is 15 centimeters. See. 5 times 3. Okay. 5 times 3 is 15. And then half of 15 is 7.5. The answer I don't think is here. Okay, just cross out your answer choices. Just write it over here. Area equals 7.5 centimeters. I think it. Okay, on the next one, we're just going to be doing number 12 because we're about to finish the class. On this one, remember, I already uploaded the video about the keywords. Study the keywords. When we graph inequalities, when we write inequalities, the keywords are really important. A student needs to collect at least 10 flowers. You have it over here already. At least. N plus 3 is greater or equal than 10. And then you solve it the same way you solve equation, using opposite operation. We need to leave the variable alone, the n. So the opposite operation of adding is what, Nava? Opposite operation of adding. Subtract. So we subtract 3, we subtract 3. You don't need to flip the sign unless you're dividing by a negative number. Dividing by a negative number. And then what is 10 minus 3? Different sign, you subtract, and keep the sign from the biggest absolute value. Do you see your answer now? Yes, it's here. Okay, now you have homework. Please don't go anywhere. On this one, you just need to read carefully the answer choices. And on number 14, find the difference. So first you subtract, and then don't forget to multiply times 35. Don't forget to multiply times 35. Okay, thank you for watching the video. It's going to be uploaded in my webpage. So be watching the videos during the weekend. I know some of you are so lazy to do the work, but by understanding what kind of problems you're going to get, you're going to study or put it before you go to sleep so you can be reminded that the next day. Okay, thank you. And please subscribe.